Hi, Helen Z here, bringing you another episode of Embody TV. Thank you for joining me today. I'd like to touch on a subject today which involves around changing our behavior and our thought processes. How many times have you tried to change a thought process or a behavior to no avail? And it only leaves you feeling despondent, disempowered, and wanting to give up, thinking that this is not going to change anytime soon. Yep, that's been me in the past as well. Today, I'm actually going to share with you a very simple way that I hope explains how our mind works and how we hold on to emotions in our body. And I'm going to use a little experiment to assist in just that. But firstly, before the experiment, I'd like to share with you that our body is filled with an emotional space. So we've got our physical space, we've got the mental capacity, and we've also got our emotional body. And over time, as a really young child, we get to fill our body up with emotions. Nice ones, not so nice ones. We get to fill it up across the spectrum. And sometimes we can have a series of experiences that leave us feeling dense, can leave us feeling disempowered, and the emotional churning takes place in the body. And it's not so much in the head. The head can keep processing the thoughts like a broken record that goes over and over again. But also in the series of our belly, in the series of our gut, we get to churn it over, not being able to fully digest what's happened and why we're not able to change it. But there is a way to do that. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a scientific quantum term here called the law of displacement. And the law of displacement is quite simple. It means that no two things in the same concentration can occupy that same space. That over a given amount of time when the tension is in there, something will need to give for something else to displace it and take place. So if we've got an emotion that has been stuck in our body and in our reservoir for a long period of time, if we're not going to start looking outside of ourselves and within ourselves for other ways and habits to change and unlock that and release it and displace it, then it's just going to keep buried and burrowed into our body. Now, the law of displacement is all over nature. I like to share with my clients that when I'm working with emotional displacement and new thought patterns, that we see it in a barren tree in wintertime and then into full bloom. One displaces the other. Sunlight and daylight is displaced by moonlight and the night and the dark. And we can also see it in the changing seasons. One displaces naturally, it displaces another. We get to see and experience a change. And this same turning over happens and can happen in our mind and in our thought process. So, would you like to know how it works? So first of all, I want you to feel into a thought that you've had that's churning over and over again in your experience. So close your eyes, just taking a few deep breaths. And just feel into something that's been a sticking point for you over the last little while, so something that's fresh. And you're wanting to feel another way around it, determine another way, turn it on its head and send it on its way. Okay, so with that, let's begin. So I've got a glass here and I've also got some blue food colouring drops. So the glass is your body, it's a container. And just like we talked about the physical body, it can only store so much in there at any particular time point. That if we were to add something in, something will need to be taken out. So I'm only just going to half full it. And these drops are going to represent parts of our life and our memory. So take it back into being a little baby, first 7 years of life, where our parents and our environment helped shape that first part of our life. And then let's take it on as teenagers, our school or education system, coming into our puberty, and we just get to store more of our experiences and the emotions in our body. And let's just add to that experiences, relationships that we've had that may have left a residue, not knowing where to from here, sometimes being a little bit afraid to take things in a different direction. So before long, we've got what's a clear, this is why I'm wearing white, so what's a clear vessel and water filled with a whole heap of experiences represented by our color. Now, if we don't do anything else to this container and we walk ourselves around, this is what we end up with. But if we want to displace what we've experienced, if we want to displace a thought with another thought pattern or a behavior with another behavior, we need to be able to have new experiences that we bring into our life and into our daily practice. And so this is represented by the water, which means other things in your life that you start to think about, that you start to do, that you start to cultivate. And so before long, as we fill our container with new experiences, new thoughts, new ways, and empowerment in our body, we start to come and we start to change this container, because over time, and if I had enough water here, you'll see that the concentration of the blue in the liquid starts to change. It empties out and we're allowing new experiences to fill up our cup. Now, if I had enough water here in a big enough container, and I did this long enough, we'll get back to a clear glass of water. But you get the gist. And so quite simply here, with our thoughts and with our patterns, we can empower ourselves to start to change bit by bit, bit by bit. And by cultivating new experiences, be open to new experiences, soon we're able to displace what has been in our body as a past behavior, as a past thought, gets displaced with something new, and our body, our mind starts to shape shift. So I hope this has inspired you to create change for yourself. Let me know in the comment section how you go. I look forward to keeping the dialogue open with you. And in another video that I'm ready to share soon, we're going to talk about the weight of our thoughts. So thank you so much for joining me on Empowered TV, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day being inspired.